Welcome to the Pandakitty podcast with your hosts Jessica and Shaula.
Today's topic is the buds of love. Find out about the different forms of love and the experiences of your hosts.
Hi guys, and welcome back. Today we're talking about love, the heart, the mind, and what it means to really accept somebody for who they are. We're going to start out by talking about the official definition of love and also our own definitions of what we think love is. We'll go on through the different forms of love and what it means to be selfish in love and what it means to be an unselfish lover. After that, we'll have a break about love quotes, and after that, well, we'll talk about love on different levels and the concept of love as a way of life. So let's get into it, shall we?
Okay, why don't you read the all-holy definition of love?
You have it by you, but okay. Love, noun. 1. An intense feeling of deep affection. Tenderness, warmth, intimacy, attachment, endearment. 2. A person or thing that one loves. She was the love of his life. Beloved, loved one, love of one's life, dear, dearest, dear one, darling, sweetheart, sweet angel, honey. And then verb. 1. Feel a deep romantic or sexual attachment to someone. Do you love me? Synonyms. Care very much for, feel deep affection for, holding very dear, adore, think the world of, be devoted to, dote on, idolize, worship. And those are the 3 different definitions that there are. So that's the official definitions of it. But I personally think that love goes a lot deeper than that. And the way that they describe it in these few ways, they talk about it more as an intense feeling of deep affection, which we talked about affection before and how it's kind of a more physical thing. And like, you start by liking the person on the inside, and then it forms into love. So I think that it is like it is a deeper form of affection. But love also means that you accept the person's flaws. So it's not just a like physical attraction to somebody or anything like that. It's something deeper where you can love them for who they are.
Yeah, affection's definitely a stage that builds to love, and I think in order to love someone it has to be unconditional, and it happens in stages. It's not going to happen like right away where you just love somebody. It's definitely something that progresses over time, and you have to build to it.
Yeah, because love is like comes after like. Love comes after like, and like is after affection. So you go from crushing on somebody and like the fantasy of them to like having affection for somebody, and then you go into liking somebody, and then finally that final phase is to love somebody. But even when you get into love, there are different forms of love, different forms that love can take, and sometimes the forms of love that people get aren't those forms of love where you accept everything about somebody. Maybe you just accept the surface value of them because they don't open themselves up to you. Because if one person's in love with somebody, doesn't mean that the other person's going to love them right back. Sometimes it's what people call a one-sided love. And one-sided loves, even if somebody else, the 2 people like each other, they may not both love each other. So a one-sided love could be even between 2 people who are dating and they like each other, but only one of them might love the other person. So that's a one-sided love. Not in like the official definition of a one-sided love, because a one-sided love means, usually the other person doesn't like the other person at all. But I think
definitely the way it's been portrayed in media as of late.
Yeah. And then there's also the unrequited love, which is when people just don't tell the other person that they love them. And that can be going both ways, or it can be a one-sided love. So unrequited love is like a subcategory to one-sided love. Or it also could be a subcategory to love in general, because you might just not tell the other person that you love them, and they might also love you back. You don't know, because you don't know like that person's heart as much as they know their own heart.
You don't know what they're thinking, stuff like that.
Yeah, people can be really good at hiding their affection for other people.
Most definitely.
Because I know that sometimes when I find somebody cute, or like I've never actually been in love with somebody, like not like romantically, but like I have moments where like I'm like, man, I love my friends, but I'm just like, Shaula, you should stop saying that you love your friends. Like,
That's
gonna,
creepy.
This creepy. They're gonna get weirded out at some point, and then they're not gonna like you as much. So I'm like, I don't know. I'd just be like, man, I really love you right now, but like, I'm just gonna be like, I like you as a person.
Yeah. I've definitely never loved anyone on a romantic level. Probably because I've never dated anyone.
Yeah, same.
It's a big factor, I think, that contributes.
Yep, 19 going on 20, and still haven't, had any romantic relationships with anybody in existence. And it's not like I've had many chances. Like, nobody's asked me out on official dates before and stuff like that. So,
but I've definitely experienced other forms of love, like familial love.
Definitely.
Like, definitely really strong friendship. Like, I think you can love your friends. Like, that's not uncommon. Especially when you've been friends with people for, like, so long. It's like, how can you not love them? Like,
I know. Like, you just get to know somebody and you're like, man, I love that part of you.
Yeah, like, it's like, I love having you in my life. Like
you just get, like, really happy when you see them. And it's just, like, it's a good moment. And then, so, there's also selfish love versus unselfish love, which there's a difference. Like, selfish love is when there's, like, very philosophical terms for these, but I don't really remember them, so I'm just going to call them selfish and unselfish love. Selfish love means that you're expecting something from somebody else. Like, you go into the relationship and you're like, I am going to get this from them, whether that be your own confidence or, like, something of a physical nature. Like, you are selfishly there for your own reasons instead of unselfish love where you're there for the other person. Like, you are like, I will give my heart to you and I will give all of this to you and I will be there for you. So there's selfish love and then there's unselfish love, and people fall into different categories. And when somebody of selfish love and somebody of unselfish love are together, sometimes it might work out, sometimes the selfish love might deter the unselfish love from being with them, but it all depends. And relationships aren't ever like 50-50. A lot of them will end up being like 75-25.
Yeah.
And it's all about give and take. Like, nobody's going to give all and nobody's going to take all, or else the relationship's going to fall. But even if you got like a 75-25 going on, like, people can be happy that way. Some people like giving more and some people like taking more.
Yeah, I think an interesting thing with like selfish love and unselfish love, there's actually a book that is all about the 5 languages of love. And, like, it's all about figuring out what language you are and which ones you're most receptive to. And, like, some people are just really receptive to those who are selfish lovers, in an essence, or being a selfish lover, which isn't, like, I mean, the term selfish seems like a bad term.
Yeah.
But it's not really bad. Like, it's just
really
saying that there's a difference in how you show love or how you prefer to receive love. And it all has to do with basically, like, your ego, like, how much that is important to you.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is good and bad. Like, I don't think you can say, oh, you're a selfish lover, you're so bad, you are shame. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's just how you accept love and how you give love. It's different for everyone.
Yeah, it is. And, like, you'll have compatibility with certain people. That's why there's, like, compatibility tests, because there's some people you'll be compatible with and some people you won't be compatible with.
Yeah, and that's why there's, like, all those terms, like, opposites attract, or it's better to be with someone that you're similar to, because everyone's different, and there's no right or wrong, like, way to go about love.
Yeah, like, you might be, like, in love with somebody who's, like, really relatable to you. And then there's other people who will be so disdainful of people who are relatable to them. They'll be like, this person is way too close to what I am. I gotta run away right now.
I know myself, and I don't want that.
Yeah. I don't want to be with somebody like me. No, thank you. But there is this quiz online that does all that, and, like, it goes through all these questions about how you, like, the 5 loves and, like, which love
language
you
of
respond best to. And one of my highest ones were, I think, words of affection. So I really like being told, like, really nice things and stuff like that. And my least one, I think, was either gifts or services. I don't remember which one, but I hate when people do things for me. I'm like, oh, that's nice. You didn't have to, though. Or, like, people get me gifts, and I'm like, thank you. You didn't have to get me this. I would have just liked your presence instead. And that was one of my high ones, was, like, people just being around me and being with me and giving me their time. was the big one. Like, I just like when people give me their time.
Yeah, we should link the quiz down below so anyone watching can take it if they would like to be interested in which language of love you are most receptive to, least receptive to, which one you give out most, and stuff like that. But anyway, we're going to stop here and take a little break, and we're going to read some love quotes for you guys.
See you in just a bit. Quote 1.
Lol, today you said hi to me, and I died. Quote 2.
Roses are red. Tomatoes are redder. I think we both know I like you way better. Quote 3.
You know you're in love when you can't fall asleep because reality is finally better than your dreams. Quote 4.
You don't need too many people to be happy. Just a few real ones who appreciate you for who you are. Quote 5.
You fall in love with the most unexpected person at the most unexpected time. Quote 6.
The best love is the one that makes you a better person, without changing you into someone other than yourself. Quote 7.
No family is perfect. We argue, we fight, we even stop talking to each other at times. But in the end, family is family. The love will always be there.
And the final quote is,
blood makes you related, love makes you family. Ba-dum-dum.
Alright, welcome back everybody. So now we're going to talk about love on different levels. So there's the family level of love, which we kind of got into before, but then we started talking about friends. And there's also the romantic level of love. So they are very different in what they are and how they are kind of surfaced and how they act. So people act different in different forms of love. And it'll also be different at different stages in relationships because people change over time and nobody's ever going to be the same. That's why sometimes people talk about how like their fiance changed so much when they got married, because like you get into the honeymoon stage of like being an engaged person and you're like, oh, this is nice, and then you get married and you notice all of the person's like
traits that you don't like.
Yeah. You're living with them,
the
and
things
you're like,
that you subconsciously hid from each other.
Yeah, but then you think, well, I've got them tied down by a contract, so they're mine now. Which back in the day, that was how it was, so it didn't really matter. But these days, you got choices. You can be like, I don't really like this, I don't know, you know? But so like on a romantic level, it always is changing. Like it's never the same. Like you can try to be as much the same as you want to be, but people change at different levels of relationships, and love changes on different levels too. The way that somebody will love you is different.
I feel like it's definitely like romantic love is always evolving, whereas family love is generally pretty much the same. Like
it's pretty solid.
It stays pretty much at the same level because I mean, generally, you're not going to be like, oh, yeah, I love my grandma, of course. And then, like, oh, she didn't give me the last cookie. I hate her. Like, but it's not going to change how much you actually love your grandma. Like, you might say it, but you still love her. Like,
you're just, like, with your grandma. And, like, you're just a little kid, and you're just, like, going up there and like, Grandma, can I have a cookie? And your grandma's like, you can't have any more cookies today. And you're just like, I hate my grandma. I hate her forever. And then the next day you're going to be like, I love you, Grandma.
I love Grandma.
Like, it's not like it actually changes. It's just a moment of, like,
you say it, but it doesn't really mean you actually. I mean, for some reason, some people might actually not like their family for their different reasons. Like, but I feel like when you do love your family, it generally does not change.
Yeah, and also, family doesn't have to be related by blood.
Yeah.
Like, I consider some of my friends, like Jessica here, family to me. Like, they're close enough to me that they are my family. And even if I didn't have, like, my real family, which I love them, so, like, not saying I don't, but, like, Jessica's a part of my family to me, even though, like, we're not related by blood. So you might, like, just be like, you have some homies that you really like, and you're like, man, I love my homies. And you might not tell your homies because maybe you're one of those people who's like, I'm not really the type of person to tell my friends I love them.
Show emotion.
Show emotion. I'm a cold-hearted killer. But like you're gonna love somebody, and like you can love somebody on a family level, and it's never gonna change. Like once somebody gets to that point, usually they stay there, unless like one of you breaks it off and like
yeah,
nah.
unless something like big happens.
Something really big usually is what breaks that.
Yeah, and I feel like it takes really big, significant moments to break family love, but romantic love, it's so fickle at times.
Yeah, it's very fragile.
It can be broken by the smallest things. And of course, I don't really have experience with this, but I feel like from what I've heard, what I've seen, it's very easy for some people to almost like just fall out of love over some things that seem very simplistic or some things that seem kind of ridiculous to other people. And
maybe it means a lot to them. Like, I don't know how they are. Like, they could be really, like, have horrible trust issues that they're not telling people. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and some people have, like, medical issues or, like, mental issues that, like, have a big detrimental effect on those kind of things, too. And, like, you have to take those into consideration when you're looking at people's situations. You can't just assume something like, wow, that person's a biatch.
Yeah, and one thing that's interesting, too, about romantic love is it can morph into family love. Because, especially for, like, people who have gotten divorces, but they're still, like, they still love the other person that they were married to, but they're just not, like, in love with them, but they still love them. Yeah. So it's like you've created that bond with them, but you're no longer as passionate, I guess, about your feelings towards them. Which I always loved the phrase, like, saying that you don't love, like, I love them, but I'm not in love with them. Yeah. Like, in rom-coms, that's always one of my favorite lines, which seems kind of ridiculous, because that's, like, not a good thing to hear, but it's, like, always been one of my favorite lines, because I think it just makes so much sense, but at the same time doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you're like, what? And then you're like, yeah. So, like, love is a concept of a way to live. What do you think of that? Like, people say that they live for love. And I don't know which form of love they mean. They could mean family love or they could be romantic love. But usually in most cases, they're talking about romantic love. Like, they live for that feeling of love and not actually loving somebody. So, like, to me, that's a bit, like, superficial. A little bit. But, like, also, if that's the way that people want to live, if that's what they want to live for, I think that's super cool. Like, if you find somebody that you love and then you start living for, like, that love and what that is to you, then that brings meaning into your life. And I think that's, like, an amazing thing. And, like, if you live for that family love and you're, like, very family-oriented, I think that's super cool, too.
Yeah, I definitely think love it's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah,
love
definitely
can overcome and be so influential for so many people, and it inspires people to do amazing things. And I think without love, our world would not be where it's at today.
Oh, definitely not.
And I think, although I haven't experienced love in all of its forms, I think I'm a romantic in some aspects.
Yeah.
I live a romanticized or ideally romanticized life. Yeah. I would like to think I'm going to have, like, some of those stupid rom-com moments.
Oh, man. Those would be nice to have.
It would be nice.
I'm not really a romantic. Like, I want romantic things, but, like, I'm like that logical person's like, I don't know. I don't think that's ever actually going to happen. Like, no one's going to actually come and serenade me. Even though I would love it so much and my heart would just fall into their lap, I don't think anybody's actually going to come and serenade me for anything.
Yeah, I would die if some of the things in rom-coms happened to me. Like, I would be at a loss for words. I wouldn't know what to do. But I definitely think I idealize romanticism in general.
Yeah.
Which in turn, I guess, makes me a bit of a romantic.
That's the definition of romantic, isn't it? All right, so questions for you guys. What are your experiences with love? And also, are you guys romantics? And if you take the quiz that we'll be putting down below, which is like a very official one, please tell us what your results were. Like, what did you have the highest thing for? And we'll retake the quiz or take it.
Yeah, definitely, because I haven't.
Yeah, and we'll put down below into the comments in the description what we got as a result too. And it's like, it does percentages, so you'll really know, like, what kind of things you really like and what kind of things you don't. So with that, tell us if you're romantics or not. Tell us of any experiences you think you've had with love, family, or romantic, or friends. We don't care which ones. Tell us about them. And with that...
And we'll also try to reply to some of your comments as well.
Yeah.
To continue the discussion. We don't want just you guys talking to each other. We want to talk to you too.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
We'll try and reply to some of you guys as well.
Yeah, so with that, we're going to end our dinner date for tonight. And we'll see you pod poodles in the next episode. Good night. Have a good weekend.
Bye!
Blood brothers.
We are...
Blood brothers.
Yes, we are.
Blood brothers. Woo! Blood brothers. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na. Blood brother, where you hiding today? Oh, blood brother, where you going my way? Oh, blood brother, come on back to me, 'cause we're blood brothers. Blood brothers to me.
Oh wow, we didn't even spike it that much.
I know, I'm surprised.